Hello, my name is Nick Gallop, Headmaster of Brighton College Bangkok. I'm here to talk a little bit about the university application process with some senior colleagues.
Hello, my name is Barber. I'm the head of the senior school.
Hi there, I'm Sophie Peat and I'm head of sixth form. It's lovely to be here.
We're going to talk a little bit about the university application process, how and why universities are ranked, how they're grouped, what they're looking for, and what parents can do to support young people in the application process. So let's start with that first question. Universities are ranked. On what basis are they ranked?
I think it's important to realise that every university ranking is different. It's all based on things like ratios of students to staff, admissions processes and student satisfaction. So it's important to realise that not everyone is the same. I think it's important to look at the university rankings alongside what you want to do. So look at things like courses and think about whether the course that you want to do is at that university. You can also filter as well by the course that you want to study and at the destination that you want to study to. So it is really important to take rankings into consideration, but also realise that they do vary from place to place.
Yeah, it's really important what you're saying there, Sophie, about courses, because sometimes the best ranked universities aren't necessarily the best ranked for that particular course. So it's important to be aware of what is the best course for the subject that you really want to study.
Sure, and there are groups of universities, aren't there? How and why are universities groups, and what are those groups and what do they mean?
So I think some of the groups that people may have heard of are Oxbridge in particular in the UK, so that is Oxford and Cambridge, which are very prestigious universities and they have the historic rigour of the examinations and things like that behind them. There's also in the UK the Russell Group universities. So these are 24 universities that are known for their outstanding teaching and learning as well. And in the US there is the Ivy League. This is interestingly based on athletics originally, however they have become most of the prestigious universities in the US as well. But each are looking for candidates who are academically bright, but also the whole-rounded individual as well.
So that's really interesting that there are lots of different groups, all based on different criteria, but it's not all about the name or the group, is it?
No, absolutely not. I think it's more important to pick the right place, pick the right location, pick the right course, and to make sure that that's the best place for you. Universities, as we said about the rankings, they are ranked on lots of different criteria, and actually selecting a university you're going to be happy in and you're going to get a good result in and a really high quality degree, that's the most important thing to consider.
Sure. So we've talked about the universities themselves. What about the application process then? What are these highly selective universities looking for in their applicants?
So they're looking for academic rigour, so they are looking for the best of the best if you're going to these top universities. However, they're looking at what you do above and beyond the curriculum. So it is that super curricular activity. So that is basically what do you do above and beyond for your subjects. So things like wider reading are important, but it's also things like volunteering. And again, it all varies on the university. So if it's in the UK at the moment, they are looking for what you do in that subject. So for example, in psychology, the student needs to do wider reading, which is really, really important, but they also need to do something with that wider reading. So I call this process triangulation. So the student knows that they really care about the subject, but also they've done something with that. So whether it's do something like a TED Talk or whether it is do a research paper, it's just them trying to show that they're going above and beyond in that subject. However, in US universities, students need to show that they're the whole-rounded individual. So that's volunteering for things like community service, doing things like CCAs, sports, and really trying to make sure that they are the whole-rounded individual.
Thank you. So how do schools prepare young people for the application process then?
So at Brighton, what we do is we offer lots of leadership opportunities for the children, but we also offer extended opportunities to develop this triangulation effect. So the EPQ, we really value that, and making sure the children have the opportunity to carry out things like TED Talks at the end of some wider reading. They're also mentored by subject specialists, so they get lots of opportunities to have high-end, high-quality conversations about the wider reading that they're completing in that subject.
Great. So when does the application process start? When should young people start to think seriously about university?
That's a really good question. I don't think you can start too early, actually. I was speaking to some Year 6 parents yesterday, and they're already considering the application process for universities for their children. And I think we start at Brighton seriously thinking about that with our children from Year 7 upwards. We've got a programme called Unifrog that we use, and the children are able to access different pathways and find out more about what their future might look like. But I suppose The first serious decisions they're making that affect their university choices are at 14, when they choose the options they take at GCSE. And they need some advice to be able to do that, to pick the right things, to make sure they're on the right pathway to get to the course they'd like to study.
Sure, and then the move comes into the sixth form when things get a little bit more serious, don't they?
Definitely. So after year 11, they make their choices for the sixth form. So they initially choose 4 AS levels, and then that goes down to 3 A levels if they choose to do that. It's important they really think about the subject choices because certain pathways require certain subjects. So for example, medicine requires certain subjects, whereas other courses don't have any requirements. It's important to realise though that every university in different countries is different. So for example, the UK system is very different to Thai system and the US system. So it's really important to get that guidance.
Sure, and some university applicants may expect an interview. What's a university interview like?
Again, it varies from university to university. So some will really look at that academia side and actually create challenges for you because they want to see your type of thinking and how you respond to challenges. Others just want to find out more about you, so they might use things like your personal statement or your Common App essay to find more about you as an individual.
Great, thank you. So to finish off, top tips for parents. If you had to give just a couple of tips for parents supporting young people in applying for university, what would those be? Let's start with you, Sophie.
My biggest one is just having an open conversation and making sure that that conversation is constant throughout their sort of academic life. Letting them know whether there are any financial constraints, whether location is important, I think is really, really important throughout their time so that then they know where to apply to. In addition to that, I also think that getting your child involved as many CCAs and extracurricular activities as possible is really beneficial because not only will they learn who they are through that, they will also learn more about themselves, and again, it will help that triangulation.
And you, Carly?
Oh, for me, I think you can never start too early. I think with the process, I think thinking about it with your children is good to start early as you can. And also then at the other end of the scale, when you're about to apply in year 13, it really is quality over quantity. Don't apply a scattergun approach to applying to universities. You should have a good idea about where you'd like to go.
Sure. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
And if you want to find a little bit more about how we support young people through the university application process, contact us or come and visit us at Brighton College here in Bangkok.